2025 Body Upgrade Guide. I'm going to give you 5 simple steps. So whether you're driving or if you're working out, and you're just kind of tuning in, you want to listen in, just taking in, I'm going to share with you the most direct, most specific things in regards to upgrading your body. And I'm going to give you 5 simple steps. If you do have access to pen and paper, if you have able to take notes, consider grabbing that, because I'm going to ask you to write down some things that you may want to internalize, memorize, like really lock it down deep into your soul, right? But first, so you don't forget. So if you write it down, that way less chance you'll forget. First things first, to get your body upgrade guide is to have a clear, specific goal. So let's do a little exercise right now. So if you could wave a realistic magic wand and you could have your body, your health, your energy, any kind of way you wanted it to be, say between now and say a year from now, what would that look like for you? And then get clear and specific and narrow it down. If possible, narrow it down to a very clear and specific body weight and clear and specific body fat percent. And why is it so important to be clear and specific? Imagine for a moment that you were building a house, and it was a dream house, and it was a brand new house from scratch. Chances are you would draw up blueprints. You would have an architect draw up elaborate blueprints detailing every specific thing about that house. Now imagine we're building your body, right? What would you like it to be? What is your dream body? If you could have your body any kind of way you wanted it to be, what would that be like for you? So the point here is, the more clearer and the more specific and the more detail you can make your fitness goals, I feel the more likely you are to hit it, because you are heading towards that goal. You know where you're going and you're heading towards that goal. So if you're just working out without a purpose, without a goal in mind, it might be tough because you're not really striving for something. You're not really shooting for something that's pushing you, motivating you. So that's the first part, I believe, to this journey to a 2025 body upgrade guide, is to have a clear, specific goal, right? So now that you have your goal, say you have your ideal body weight and ideal body fat percent goal down, do you know what you want to achieve? Then let's follow the 5 simple steps: exercise, nutrition, recovery, supplementation, and mindset. Now let's break these down just a little bit. So let's first talk about training. Now imagine for a moment that we're flying in an airplane. We have a twin engine airplane. Now one engine, let's say that's cardiovascular engine. And then let's say on the other engine, let's call that strength training engine, right? Now if you're flying along with both engines working really good and flying really strong, then that's great. That's what we want. You have a combination of cardiovascular exercise and combination of strength training exercise. Now, if you're just doing one or the other, that'd be kind of like flying along with just one engine on the airplane, right? So that wouldn't be very good, right? So if you want to be fully efficient, then I encourage you to have both a strength training in your program and cardiovascular training in your program. Okay. Now, when it comes to building out a strength training program, what are some key things to think about? Think about that. Some key things to think about. I feel 5 key things will be proper form, variety, intensity, proper training principles, and consistency. Right? Let's break them down one at a time. Proper form. Why would proper form be so important? 2 big reasons to consider. 1, so that we don't get hurt, and then 2, so that we're being effective with the exercise. How do you learn proper form? Study proper form. when you write out your routine, write out when you have a routine for the week, study each exercise on, when you're not in the gym. And then when you go in, implement what you studied. I encourage you to master the form. Mastering the form will give you more efficiency in the gym, get more out of your workout, also less chance of injury. Now, so we talk about proper form. Now let's look at variety. Why would variety be a key part of a good strength training program? Two big reasons come to mind. One is so that we don't mentally get bored, right? When you just get tired of, if you worked out for years and years and years and you always just did the same kind of routine all the time, that would be very boring, right? But then also too, have you ever heard of a plateau? A plateau is where you get to a certain level and then you get stuck. So by adding variety into your routines, you can keep from hitting that plateau, right? So the workouts that I'm creating in the app, if you're interested in downloading for free the exercise app, it's called Workouts for All. It's either on Apple or Android, or the Apple Store, Apple or Android. And you look up workouts, the number 4, all. And you'll see a lot of the workouts that I'm putting in there that's for free, you have access to, are usually 4 weeks at a time. You can make them longer, but I like to change them up for my clients and myself about every 4 weeks, because I feel like that's you just keeping it in the rotation. You just keep doing different things, right? But 4 weeks is a good amount of time, but everybody's different. I feel like also too, the longer you work out, the faster you adapt. So if you are a new person, you can work out typically on the same routine longer because your body's going to adapt slower. And the more you are working out, the more advanced level you are, I feel like the faster your body will adapt to the workouts. So, all right, so we talked about proper form and variety. Let's look at intensity. What comes to mind when you think about the power of intensity with working out? What comes to mind? Well, let's break it down for a minute. Imagine for a moment we're doing chest presses. We're going chest presses, and then say we're going for 10, 11, and we're going for 12 repetitions. We barely get number 12, but we got number 12. What's the most beneficial part of that set? The first few reps or the last few reps? Well, probably the last few reps, right? And why? That's where the overload occurs. That's where the breakdown occurs, right? So generally, you might already know this, but when you're working out, you're basically breaking the muscles down. It's through the rest and recovery that the muscles overcome and adapt and grow back bigger, right? So we work out, we're breaking it down. We sleep, we eat. We work out, we break it down. We sleep, we eat. We work out, we break it down. We sleep, we eat. And over time, that's how you gain muscle, gain strength, lose body fat over time. So we talked about proper form, variety, intensity. Now let's look at proper training principles. There's all sorts of types of training principles to consider, like a compound sets, drop sets, supersets, up and down the rack, 21s. There's bunches and bunches of them. I encourage you to learn about them and then sprinkle them in occasionally throughout your routines, right? And I'll be adding them, of course, inside the apps, inside the routines in the app. So we talked about proper form, variety, intensity, proper training principles, and last but not least, what makes up a good training program is consistency. Now, what do you think about when you think about the principle of consistency in regards to your fitness training program? What comes to mind? Well, of course, it's kind of obvious, right? Being consistent is very important. Well, imagine for a moment that we have you and say we have a twin of you, and say we have our goal set. Let's meet back here in 1 year and see how it's going. So we meet back. You did the year. You worked out consistently, 3, 4, 5 days a week, whatever it is you decided. You were consistent with it. you ate 90% consistent, you got your rest 90%, you were doing really good. And the other person starts off that way, but then misses a workout here and there, skips good meals here and there, has more junk food, doesn't always get the right amount of sleep. At the end of the year, who is going to have the best results? The consistent version of yourself, right? So consider the power of consistency when it comes to your strength training program. So now, just to summarize what builds out a good training program, we talked about proper form, variety, intensity, proper training principles, and consistency. All right. Now, let's look at nutrition. Now, imagine for a moment that we're going to build your beautiful dream home, but we only have half the materials necessary to build the house. How far are we going to get? About halfway, right? Part of the way. The foods that you and I eat on a daily basis are the supplies that goes towards building our bodies. So as you want to build strength, you want to build muscle, you want to get lean, your daily actions with food matter so much. And what do I recommend? I recommend a blend of about 50% fruits and vegetables, 25% whole grains, and 25% plant-based proteins like legumes, lentils, nuts, seeds. And there's so much you can do with all that. I just had a wonderful lunch today. There's just so many delicious options. You just have to be motivated enough to put them together and be open-minded enough to do it. Now, I feel like there are basically 4 different ways in which eating affects our fitness journey in our bodies. It affects our energy levels, our insulin levels, energy levels, our blood sugar levels, our insulin levels, and our metabolism. Those 4 things, right? Now, imagine for a moment that we have a fireplace. And on one hand, we have a stack of oak wood. On the other hand, we have a stack of paper. And not including, kindling and getting the fire started. But if you had to choose between the oak wood or the paper to burn in your fireplace, which one would you pick and why? Well, most of us will pick the oak wood, right? And why? Because it's going to burn longer, slower, more efficiently, right? So some foods burn more like the oak wood, and some foods burn more like the paper. So I encourage you to choose the one more like the oak wood, all right? All those resources, I have my whole food list, about 12 different images right now on the app for free. If you want to download it, you can go to the Apple Store or the Google Play Store and then search for Workouts for All. Workouts, the number 4, all, and then it'll take you right to the resource. You can download the app, look for resources, and it'll take you to the resources. All right, so talk about training, nutrition. Right? Now let's look at recovery. Right. So over the last several years, I've had the opportunity to train. I have trained 3 different neurologists, and one was a neuroradiologist. And plus, on top of that, I've done lots of research and done my own research and study about sleep and all that, and come up with my findings. And you can see what you come up with, and go with what you feel. But what I recommend for myself and my clients is 7.5 to 9 hours sleep a night, 2 hours of REM, and 2 hours of deep, and consistently. Now, how can you achieve that on a regular basis? One thing is a few things you can do. One thing is have the same go to sleep time. So have yourself, say you want to plug in, max it out 9 hours, and say you want to go to bed at 9, get up at 5, go to bed at 10, get up at 6, whatever. So have the same sleep time every night, every night, same time. And then ideally, cut your eating off at least 2 hours before sleep time. So if you go to bed at 10, no later than 8. And as you do that, you can ease it back to 3 and 4 hours. That's even better. What happens is when we eat, our metabolism increases, which generates heat. So, but as we get ready for sleep, ideally we want to cool down our bodies. So having not eating right before bed to at least 2 hours, and then 3 or 4 will give your body a chance to cool down, rest, not have to digest, and get ready for a good night's sleep. And then you can turn the lights down real good in the house, cool it down really good. I use things over my eyes because I like to listen to some comedy right before I go to sleep. So I just listen and then we'll put the blinders over so it's dark, right? But do whatever works for you, right? But go for that 7.5 to 9 hours sleep a night, 2 hours of REM, 2 hours of deep. Right. Now let's look at supplementation. So when it comes to supplements, I feel like there are basically 2 different categories of supplements: nutritional supplementation and enhancement performance supplementation. The main point of this point today is to educate you about that there is nutritional supplementation and enhancement performance supplementation. I'm not really making recommendations at this point. A nutritional supplementation is like a smoothie. I have about 3 a day on top of my food meals. And so you have a smoothie, a drink, where you can make it a million different ways, and you can make them taste so good. And then enhancement performance supplementation is like an example, like creatine, for example. And that is an example of an enhancement supplement. I wouldn't really consider it a nutritional supplement like your proteins, carbs, or fats, but I would put it in the category of enhancement supplements. So nutritional supplements, enhancement supplements, just to make the difference. But that's your options. And there's lots of things to choose from inside of those categories. So we talked about training, the 5 simple steps: training, nutrition, recovery, supplementation. Then last but not least is the mindset. Now, as you're going on your fitness journey, consider that a lot of the challenge is largely mindset. Now, imagine for a moment that you're standing in the ocean. And if you've ever been in the ocean, it has like a strong current, and it'll kind of take you along the ocean waves, right? So, but imagine that's kind of like what fitness is. Getting in shape and getting stronger and getting leaner and getting more muscle is you're you're going against resistance. So it's like you're walking against that current. You're trying to change your body, and it's not necessarily easy. It's simple. We know what to do. We just exercise and eat healthy and sleep and, repeat the process over and over again. And that's how you're going to get bigger and more muscular and stronger and leaner, right? But that's how you cut through the resistance. It's like you're swimming through the resistance, but you're daily exercising, daily eating healthy, daily getting your rest. Those are the 3 core habits: exercise, nutrition, sleep, exercise, nutrition, sleep. And just that consistency over and over again, you're going to cut through that resistance. You're going to make progress, and you're going to get that body upgrade you were looking for just by the power of consistency and repetition and just pushing through that. I hope that makes sense. If it does, please put a 1 in the chat or anything. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm just going to summarize the points today. The first point is to have a clear, specific goal. Know exactly what it is you want to achieve. Set it up in an affirmation/prayer. I am happy and grateful now that I am, and then state your goal. Right. I am happy and grateful now that I am. State your body weight and your body fat percent goal. Then back it up with the 5 fundamentals of training, of the 5 fundamentals of the 5 simple steps: training, nutrition, recovery, supplementation, mindset. With training, make sure you have a combination of strength and cardio in your program. With nutrition, make sure to consider a whole food plant-based diet composed of about 50% fruits and vegetables, 25% whole grains, and 25% plant-based proteins like legumes, lentils, nuts, and seeds. When you're building out your program, make sure to include proper form, variety, intensity, proper training principles, and consistency. When getting your rest, your recovery, make sure to aim for 7.5 to 9 hours sleep a night with about 2 hours of REM and 2 hours of deep. When it comes to supplements, consider nutritional supplements and consider enhancement performance supplements. And then the mindset, daily work on your mindset by saying your goal in the present tense with power and meaning. I am happy and grateful now that I am, and state your body weight and your body fat percent goal. Say it every day with power. I'll use myself as an example. I am happy and grateful now that I am at least 190 pounds and at or below 10% body fat, feeling strong and healthy like a supple leopard, thick brown hair, 20/20 vision, perfect teeth, supple skin. See how I add all that? That's just mindset. That's just mindset. But then, yes, I do have to back it up with the actions, what I say I'm going to do, right? So we can't just all say it, but we say it and then we do it. That's the thing here, is I want you to say it in your head and then walk out and do it. Do the exercise, do the nutrition, do the recovery, do the supplementation, and do the mindset consistently over and over and over again. That way you'll have the benefits of the discipline. You have the benefits of the disciplined lifestyle where you're healthy and feeling good versus the regret. Imagine the regret, living till later in life and looking back and having heart disease and maybe strokes and high blood pressure and being uncomfortably overweight and low sexual function. It's all these bad things, right? But no, you can have the disciplined lifestyle and you can feel strong and healthy and have energy and all that and vitality in your life. My goal is to be back here with you every Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The app is ready to download. If you go to the Apple Store or the Android Store, search for Workouts for All, the workouts, the number 4, all, and it's a free download. You can create a free account and you have access to a lot of things. And then if you're interested in a complimentary consultation, or I can help you set up a program, customize it for you for an affordable price, feel free to reach out to me. Text me the word FIT to 520-400-9573. Be blessed, and I'll see you on Thursday, God willing, and I'll be back. Bye for now.